You know that feeling when you wake up tired, even after a full night's sleep, when you push through your day running on empty, wondering where your energy went? Here's something most people don't know, that fatigue may actually be happening inside your cells. That's why I've been using anti-factor lipids powder from Nutritional Therapeutics for years. I don't go a day without it. It's based on over 20 years of research and a patented process called membrane lipid replacement, which actually repairs the damaged components of your cell membranes, restoring your cell's ability to produce energy the way they did when you were younger. Clinical studies show anti-factor can reduce fatigue by up to 40%. Just 1 or 2 scoops a day. Mix it in a smoothie like I do, sprinkle it on food, and you're giving your body the science of youthful energy. Anti-Factor Lipids Powder comes in 2 convenient sizes. For more information and to order, just call 800-982-9158, 800-982-9158, or go to antifactor.com. That's antifactor.com for Anti-Factor Lipids Powder. Welcome back to today's Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ronald Hoffman. You want to get through to us with a question or comment. We're better than AI. People have questions,
Totally.
They can just AI it. But we beat the pants off AI.
Absolutely.
Because AI just aggregates a lot of opinions.
Right.
And, we apply a critical thought process to some of the prevailing views about certain things out there. You're going to get sometimes the official view from AI. AI may even hallucinate. AI may even invent a brand new disease. That has happened, and so all of you engaged in the professions, beware of AI. If you're a professor and you want to write, you're a student, you want to write your PhD thesis, you better not quote AI verbatim. Same thing if you're a lawyer, you want a legal brief, don't AI it. Maybe use AI for research. Yeah, fine, but put it in your own words and use your critical faculties. Same thing with medicine. There's actually an article that I just read today that says that medical students' overdependence on AI may usher in an era of really dangerous medicine because you can't look to AI for solutions. You can look to AI for prompts and for research. I think it's very good for that. But then you have to introduce an element of human discernment when it comes to actual implementation where the rubber meets the road in a clinical setting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a question here from Betsy. This morning I listened to the interview with Neil Levin regarding vitamin K, but there are other doctors that have the opposite opinion regarding vitamin K2, at least when it comes to bone health, saying that 4 is much better and cites many studies showing, maybe 45 milligrams of K4 daily is protective against fractures. And it's important to note that K4 you do in milligrams, whereas K7, which is K2, MK7, is done in micrograms.
Right.
So just wondering, what your opinion is.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I don't, I think that K2 is the category, and then the subcategories are MK7 is a subcategory of that. What about MK4? What is MK4 in relationship to?
Well, MK4 actually, first of all, K2 would include several forms, with MK4 being one of them. Now, MK4 is short-acting, and therefore it requires higher doses because it's quickly cleared from the body.
Does this do the same thing that MK7 does?
Not necessarily. The source is actually for K4 is in animal products, and MK7 is derived more from fermented foods.
Yeah, like natto,
like natto, exactly.
I think what Neil Levin said, he's super sharp. I think sometimes he takes a little bit of a contrarian stance to what the mainstream kind of cliche nutrition states. But I think he's a fan of MK7, and he said that the product that Protocol for Life Balance uses is from fermented chickpeas as opposed to fermented soy, because he said, and that's a reason, because a lot of people are turned off to having products that are soy derived. So he said, we can easily make the material off of chickpeas, which is less allergenic for people. And that's what they use in their vitamin K products there.
There we go. There we go. So the half-life for MK4, it's cleared in 6 to 8 hours, whereas MK7 has a longer half-life. It remains longer in the body. And these are the basic differences. But again, K2 is a group of compounds of menaquinones, and K4 being one of them. MK7 is more effective at lower doses. It stays, you get blood levels of it remaining for longer periods.
You mean MK7, no?
MK7,
Yeah. Okay.
Meaning K2.
Yeah.
So they both activate osteocalcin, which, helps calcium bind to the bones, which is what we're trying to do. So they just kind of differ in their metabolism, their dosing, but,
At the same time, it also is anti-atherosclerotic. It somewhat slows the atherosclerotic process. Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, this is interesting. Because I just read a study that shows that MK7 slows calcification versus placebo. So the author said, this is very interesting. This might be promising. But they said, however, we have to demonstrate that there's a clinical benefit to that. In other words, we talked earlier that statins, while somewhat reducing the risk of heart attacks, especially for people at high risk, actually increase calcification. This reduces calcification.
Yes.
The implication being, could that be a net negative? Probably not. But, we don't have long-term studies looking at people over a span of 10 or 20 years, which is really what you have to look at for preventive studies, as to whether the MK7 or whatever the material they're using actually reduces those MACEs, major adverse cardiovascular events. So you want to see that, okay, nice, it slows calcification, great. Does that translate to reduced risk of events and cardiovascular death? Yeah.
Betsy is asking particularly against it being protective against fracture, against bone fracture.
Okay.
And K is necessary for osteocalcin to help calcium bind to the bone. So it's all part of that. K is really redirecting calcium to go where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And not be hanging out in blood vessels or soft tissue or any of that. So the mechanism of osteocalcin is very important, and K and D and calcium, magnesium, all of these are very helpful. You've got to have all in sufficient amounts. So, if you're eating animal products and you're getting the K4, terrific. And if you're eating the fermented products and getting the K2, which is MK7, terrific. That's all good.
And the proof of the pudding, while you're talking, I just looked this up.
Yeah.
Is that warfarin or Coumadin, it's a blood thinner, is a vitamin K antagonist. Now, if vitamin K is important, you might expect that Coumadin would actually accelerate bone loss or put people at higher risk for osteoporosis. And indeed, that is the case. It says long-term use of Coumadin may impair bone quality and increase the risk of osteoporosis or fractures compared to non-users. So I think that that's, at least circumstantial evidence that vitamin K plays a role in bone metabolism, because if you're using something that antagonizes vitamin K, well, it actually has deleterious effects.
Yeah. And just to note that statins do antagonize vitamin K.
They do?
They're creating the calcification. Okay.
Yeah.
So all of this, it's like, it's a conundrum.
Yeah.
How to, Okay.
We have to balance out these effects. Yeah.
Betsy says, thanks for your podcast. They're very informative, although I usually end up with more questions than I started out with. And Betsy, kudos, because nutritional medicine, we always at the end of the day have more questions than answers. It is evolving, and we're learning more and more, and it's all fascinating and exciting. And, stay with us.
Yeah, you should see what happens at the end of a lecture at a nutrition conference, because they put mics up on both sides of the room, and then
Yes.
long lines of people stand up behind the microphones.
Yeah.
And they either ask questions or sometimes they argue with the lecturer. And they say, but what about this? What about that? What about the study that shows that this or that or the, so,
Exactly.
it is a dynamic and emerging field in terms of the findings. So it's actually fun, because when I became a doctor, one of the notions that, when you enter the medical field is that you sign up for lifelong learning. And, I said, yeah, I love it. And for each show and throughout the week, I spent a lot of time, try to catch up on the headlines and trying to understand, explain, and interpret some of the latest findings.
Yeah, there we go. Betsy, okay, thank you for that question. I think now's a good time to hear from one of our sponsors, Dr. Hoffman. What do you think?
Indeed it is. So here it goes. Please listen up. You know that feeling when you wake up tired, even after a full night's sleep, when you push through your day running on empty, wondering where your energy went? Here's something most people don't know, that fatigue may actually be happening inside your cells. That's why I've been using anti-factor lipids powder from Nutritional Therapeutics for years. I don't go a day without it. It's based on over 20 years of research and a patented process called membrane lipid replacement, which actually repairs the damaged components of your cell membranes, restoring your cell's ability to produce energy the way they did when you were younger. Clinical studies show anti-factor can reduce fatigue by up to 40%. Just 1 or 2 scoops a day. Mix it in a smoothie like I do, sprinkle it on food, and you're giving your body the science of youthful energy. Anti-Factor Lipids Powder comes in 2 convenient sizes. For more information and to order, just call 800-982-9158, 800-982-9158, or go to antifactor.com. That's antifactor.com for Anti-Factor Lipids Powder. Ever walk into a room and forget why you're there? Lose your train of thought mid-sentence? Feel like your brain is running on fumes by 2 in the afternoon? Try Kyolic Specialty Series Smart Mushrooms Plus. This isn't caffeine. It's not some jittery stimulant that crashes you an hour later. This is a clean, science-backed formula built around certified organic lion's mane mushrooms, clinically shown to support the nerve growth factor that actually helps your brain maintain and organize neurons. We're talking real foundational support for focus and mental clarity, and it doesn't stop there. It's combined with Kyolic Aged Garlic Extract, aged up to 20 months on organic California farms, plus Aronia Berry Extract, selenium, and vitamin B12 for long-term brain health and executive function. 2 capsules with a meal, once a day, vegan, non-GMO, no gluten, no dairy, no artificial anything. Kyolic Smart Mushrooms Plus from Wakanaga. Learn more about this and the entire Kyolic Mushrooms Plus line at kyolic.com. That's KYOLIC.com. Look for Kyolic at natural health stores nationwide and online. Thanks for listening, and thanks for supporting our sponsors, because they are what make Intelligent Medicine a continuing free resource to you. And now back to our questions. And just a reminder, questions come to questions@drhoffman.net.
Okay. Molly wrote us an email. Molly is asking, I've been taking tryptophan as a sleep aid, and it's been working very, very well. But how long can I take it? Can I take it for as long as I want? Can I take it the rest of my life? And what about 5-hydroxytryptophan?
Yeah.
Should I take that too?
I got to say, Leyla, I don't really have that good a handle on when to take tryptophan and when to take 5-hydroxytryptophan, because I think 5-hydroxytryptophan is a metabolite of tryptophan. So tryptophan has to undergo a conversion step before it gets to 5-HT, 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin.
Yes.
Which is that kind of, chill out, relax kind of thing. It's,
right. So serotonin then goes on to become melatonin.
Oh, and melatonin too,
Keep healthy sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But also it's the whole SSRI thing, selective serotonin receptor modulators. The
Hmm.
idea being that serotonin is a neurotransmitter that is associated with mood and
Hmm.
relaxation,
90% of which is made in the gut,
which is made in the
interestingly
gut, which
enough.
is actually,
The ancient brain,
yeah,
right?
which is that psychobiotic connection.
Right,
It's like,
right.
right.
Now, what we've seen or over the years is that many people do well with tryptophan and others do well with 5-HTP, and it alternates.
Yeah.
It's kind of different strokes for different folks, as you say,
Okay.
Dr. Hoffman. It's a little bit of a trial and error, but Molly's doing very, very well with tryptophan. Just a reminder that tryptophan, L-tryptophan, is an essential amino acid. You get it from animal protein. You're getting plenty. We've all heard the joke about eating turkey or
Turkey at
having a
Thanksgiving.
glass of
Turkey is
milk
tryptophan
and
rich. But
exactly and
what
getting
makes people
sleepy
fall
and so
asleep
forth.
at Thanksgiving is not the tryptophan in the turkey. It's just that massive
The
overeating that,
overindulgence.
yeah, that just puts you into like a coma, a food coma,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what's happening there.
Yeah.
It's not just about the tryptophan in the turkey or anything like that. It's an essential amino acid. It's helpful for that as a precursor to serotonin, for immune function, for all of that. Molly is thinking, would it be dangerous to take it long term or something? I'm not quite
Well,
sure.
I will
Mm,
just point out that there
yeah,
was, in the beginning of my career in the 1980s, tryptophan was tryptophan.
tryptophan.
It's kind of, you say tryptophan, I say tryptophan. It There was a bit of a problem with one source of tryptophan from
Yes.
Japan, where they manufactured it in such a way that it formed a toxic metabolite and people got sick. And for a while, tryptophan was taken off the market.
Yeah.
But
It
it's,
really poisoned the well, that
yeah,
incident.
and I think people got scared. But then they corrected that manufacturing problem. They found
Yeah.
exactly what it was that caused that problem, and they have remedied that problem. And
Yeah.
also, the whole problem could have been alleviated if they had the right testing to demonstrate that there was an impurity in the
Hmm.
tryptophan. And they now have that testing, and tryptophan is scrupulously tested to make sure that it doesn't have that toxic spike in the
Yeah.
HPLC, which is kind of like a molecular fingerprint to
Hmm.
assess the purity of products.
Hmm. Hmm.
So no
Oh,
problem
actually,
then.
yeah, yeah. Another part of Molly's question is, does it interfere with autophagy?
Hmm. I mean, one could make a story
Yeah.
about that, but why would it do
Yeah.
that?
Taking supplements at night, maybe we're digesting them
Oh, I see.
overnight and it's kind of
Yeah.
slowing down that whole process. It's a possibility, I suppose.
I don't
But
know.
I think the bigger question is, why aren't I sleeping well? To investigate that a little bit.
Hmm.
Why do I need the tryptophan to fall asleep? Tryptophan is great, that's fine.
Yeah.
But why? And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Root cause, root cause,
root
root
cause.
cause. Yeah.
We're always looking for root
Yeah.
cause. So, I mean, I love to go to bed on an empty stomach. I
Yeah.
love the
No.
evenings we have dinner early. We're
Yeah.
starting to show our age, Dr. Hoffman. It's like, oh, it's 4:30. Let's have dinner.
Yeah. I
It's
I
great.
gotta say that
Love
and
it.
it's a matter of habit or it's a matter of constitution. I like a little snack. Like we had dinner last night relatively
Uh-huh.
early, so we could watch the U.S. versus Belgium soccer game on
Uh-huh.
our get this on our. It I swear this we have like one of those projectors and a screen that you
Oh,
hang from
cool.
the ceiling, and it's like
Yeah.
I swear it's like 7 feet long and like 4 feet tall. So
Wow.
it's like massive. So we're like the
Uh-huh.
whole family is sitting there watching and cheering. Half
Uh-huh.
half of them were cheering for Belgium, half of them were cheering for because we have a divided group there.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so we ate early, and the game went on, and I at halftime I had to get a snack because unlike you, I like to go to sleep not hungry because hunger
Mm.
interferes with my sleep. It's a
Mm-hmm.
distress signal. So I'd like to, maybe it's
Okay.
because my mom gave me Hostess Twinkies as a bedtime snack, in childhood. It's
Yum.
like an
Yeah.
emotional thing. But
Yeah.
then I will go very long before I eat. So I had a cup of tea in the morning, and then I
Yeah.
went on a bike ride, and I came back at like 11, and then I had
Yeah.
like a protein shake, and then I had breakfast at like literally 1:30. So
Yeah.
yeah, um, I
Okay.
but so I got I like the notion of intermittent fasting, but
Yeah.
for me, I cannot stop eating at like 6:30. I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it really is constitutional. It works,
It is.
whatever works for you, figure it
Absolutely.
out. Everyone has their own, chronobiology, your
Yes.
chronotype. You may
Right.
be a night owl, you may be an early riser.
Yeah.
It's genetic. You actually
Yeah.
have what are called clock genes that
Mm.
actually predetermine what your optimal time exposure is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really something. So, Molly, thank you for that very, very thoughtful question. Okay. All right. We've got a question here from Frank. Frank is asking, is there any remedy for nocturia? I wake up several times a night. I'm 62 years old. I wake up several times a night to go to the bathroom. I come back, I fall back to sleep, but it's a real hassle.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing wrong?
Well, okay, it's kind of a universal problem for men as they age. Their prostate
Mm.
enlarges and their bladder capacity decreases, and they'll have middle of the night wake up, and that
Mm-hmm.
disturbs sleep for some. I'll wake up and I'm able to put myself back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some data on melatonin, and
Mm.
not so much because it acts on the bladder or on the urinary tract, but because it's kind of deep in sleep. So you kind of sleep through the signal that ordinarily would wake you
Uh-huh.
up to go to the bathroom.
Right.
There's some, certainly fluid management becomes an issue.
Yes. Don't
And
drink so much water in the evening. A lot of people will tell me they'll drink a little water in the morning, but if they're out and about all day, they're not drinking that much because then they're looking for a bathroom.
yeah,
So they do all this fluid intake when they get home.
yeah,
At the end of the day, well, guess what? You're going to be getting up kind of
yeah.
all night or at least a couple of times a night to go to
Hmm.
the bathroom. The other thing is if you're overdoing caffeinated beverages, if you're
Hmm.
somebody who's really, quaffing down a whole lot of coffee all day long,
Hmm.
that's something because that does have a diuretic effect. And
Can
that
can I just correct you on that? I've looked at that, and
mm,
uh, it I think it has to do with the proper use of the word diuretic. Diuretic means something that actually promotes the production of urine
mm,
and fluid mobilization. So,
yeah,
like they're diuretic medications. I think they're probably diuretic foods. I mean, they think watermelon is a little diuretic.
yeah,
So certain things. But what the way that coffee works
mm,
is it is a bit of a bladder irritant, I think.
yeah,
And that's actually more what prompts people to have a sense of urgency with coffee. From what I'm reading,
yes,
so
yes,
I personally, if people want to on a hot day drink iced coffee, especially after a while stop having the caffeinated but have decaf iced coffee. That's sort of
yeah,
what I did. Is I would make a pot of decaf in the morning, have a hot coffee, and then it would be sitting there, and then I would just put ice cubes in or drink iced coffee through the day to hydrate. That is
yeah,
permissible. It actually isn't, don't worry, you're not going to get
right,
into negative balance. What is a
right,
diuretic, though, I think, properly speaking, is alcohol. If you think
sure.
that, oh, I'm going to drink a lot of beer and it's going to rehydrate
Oh,
me,
yeah.
it to some extent it will, but there's a kind of a self defeating aspect to that.
There's a saying, you only rent a beer. You only rent it because invariably 20 minutes later, you're just going to pee it out. But Dr.
Yes.
Hoffman, I'm specifically talking about the caffeine in coffee
Okay. Okay.
as being a bit of a diuretic.
Yeah.
I mean, is it,
I
for every cup of caffeinated high test coffee, you should probably replace with a glass of water
yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
got a little bit of that
I,
kind of
I, I
the
might,
acid
I
in
might
coffee
refer,
can be the
I might
irritant. The
refer that
acid.
for a little bit of a lookup, just to see
Okay.
if caffeine per se
Yeah.
has a diuretic effect. I certainly that the
Hmm.
volatile oils are, and they're also an intestinal irritant in a
Yeah.
sense that some people, that morning
It
cup
is
of coffee
acidic.
makes
Yeah.
you, has a bit of a laxative effect,
Yeah.
uh,
And it's the acid because many people who are drinking low acid coffee because they have heartburn, it's not having the same effect on their bowels anymore.
right.
It's maybe the acid and not the
Yeah.
caffeine. That's the
Yeah.
stimulant for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
something.
Well, let's kind of put that on the back burner then to talk
Yeah.
about on a future broadcast. Are we do we shoot our wad in terms of questions?
We've got one more if we have
Yeah, let's
time.
go for it.
Okay. This actually is coming from Margaret. Margaret is asking, what are some suitable supplements I could take for exercise recovery? Like to protect against
Oh,
muscle soreness. I'm
wow.
finding that my recovery after exercise, I'm in my 60s now,
Yeah,
it's
sure,
taking a little longer, or maybe
sure,
I'm feeling
sure.
it a little more. What's happening?
Yeah. Well,
What can I take?
I think this is actually one of the reasons why, right now there's the Tour de France. You're not seeing a lot of Tour de France cyclists, which I think is like the pinnacle of endurance,
Yeah.
who are past their mid 30s. They're done, and that's because not so much performance declines, although performance does decline. It's the ability to do it day in and day out. And I have noticed that, my recoveries are, a little bit more challenged, when you go hard and
Yeah.
then the next day you feel like, wow, I really feel sore.
Hmm.
But I think that some things that have helped it are creatine, which actually
Hmm.
helps muscle. So I take 5 to 10 grams of creatine per day. I take urolithin A, which is
Hmm.
the Mitopure product, which is
Yes.
helpful. I take NT factor, which I think works on the mitochondria.
Yeah.
And anything else, specific that you can
I
think of?
D-ribose.
The
I've been
D-ribose.
I've
Okay.
been mentioning D-ribose to my
Hmm.
clients who are looking for
Okay.
something like that. They're
It's an
coming back
energy
with,
compound. Yeah.
yeah, with good success, with success in recovery.
I also think that you can kind of condition your recovery is that,
Mm.
look, there's no question that if you lay off for a long time and then you have a hard workout, you're going to feel hammered. But if you're
Yeah.
more consistent about your workups and you ramp up slowly, you can develop a recovery. Your body's recovery system adapts. But I will
Hmm.
say this, the best recovery
Uh-huh.
is sleep.
Sleep. Yeah.
Sleep.
So
Sleep is
important.
amazing. I mean, sometimes I will, feel like, oh my goodness, I am so hammered. And then I go to sleep and I'll sleep like
Hmm.
9 hours. And I'll
Oh,
wake up and I'll
wow.
and I'll wake up, like that tentative thing where you get out of bed like, I'm testing all my systems, like, is it my back? Is it my, glute
Yeah.
muscles? Is it my,
Yeah.
and I go, that's sleep, man, that is so reparative. And
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's like the absolute king of working out and muscle development, he
Hmm.
had a motto, which is um, eat, lift, and sleep.
Hmm.
That was his
Uh-huh.
motto.
Eat, lift, and
Actually,
sleep.
it was lift, eat, and sleep. So, in other words,
Okay.
the eat, and then the reparative thing comes from nutrition and
Yes.
repleting the protein,
Yes.
and then
And then
uh,
sleep.
and then sleep, and then take a lot of
Recovery.
growth hormone and anabolic steroids, of course.
Right.
You haven't mentioned that part,
As he did,
but
right? Oh
right,
my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
but also, I welcome any listeners who have their own special method of enhancing recovery. And
Hmm.
on my radio show tomorrow, by the way, there's another way to get your questions answered. You can email us,
Hmm.
not email, you can call us at 877-726-8255 and record a question. I got a question from a guy who asks about a supplement that is called um, mm, 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 muscle defense.
Oh.
Muscle defense. And
Hmm.
I don't want to answer the question here, but you'll get the answer on our the radio program. And
Okay.
you don't have, if you can't listen to it in real time, uh, you know, little secret here, pro tip is if you can't, physically be in the right place to listen to the radio, during the radio time in your local affiliate, which could be, at a weird time, sometimes
Hmm.
they put it on overnight, but the live program is on the internet and it's from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time on
Hmm.
Saturdays. Okay.
Yep.
So you can listen live that way. But pro tip, if you miss it and you can't be there, say it's in the middle of a World Cup soccer game, or, you're taking your kids to the baseball diamond.
Right.
It's going to become a podcast on Monday, and it will reside there in perpetuity. So you can listen to it
Yes.
on Monday, Tuesday at your leisure,
Right.
just
At
like
drhoffman.com. You could
at
go listen to it there.
drhoffman.com. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
all, like this becomes an Apple podcast. And,
Hmm.
here's another, just a reminder. People say, oh, I want a transcript. And I said,
Ah,
for so many years, I said, well, gee, hey, do you want to come here and volunteer and listen to the program and like a
right.
scribe, write it down, and then I'll have to like edit it because then we all get to get some things wrong, and the spellings and all this kind of stuff and punctuation. One of the nice things about AI, you could put an audio file through AI and it will
Hmm.
transcribe it. And you can go to Apple Podcasts, have for each and every one of our shows. If you don't want to listen to it, some people don't like to listen. They want to
Yeah.
read, old school.
Yeah.
There's a transcript there at
There
Apple
you go.
Podcasts. Okay.
Right.
So you can't do it, get your younger IT family member to give you an IT assist on how to
Right.
get yourself hooked up.
Right.
And, say, instead of getting me that sweater for Christmas, or that, set me up for intelligent medicine for the rest of
Hmm.
my year.
Yeah. Absolutely. And through FullScript, you can access Dr. Hoffman's custom protocols that combines products that he recommends to help you achieve specific health goals, be it for allergy, bone, brain, detox, immune, heart, sleep, and stress
We just
support.
upgraded our sleep protocol, so it's got
Yeah.
some new information about sleep,
Yeah.
some products that we would like people to explore for supporting
Mhm.
sleep.
Hmm. So don't forget to go to Dr. Hoffman's FullScript dispensary at drhoffmanstore.com. That is drhoffmanstore.com.
Great stuff, Leyla. Thanks. So have yourself a great week, and hopefully it'll be a little cooler out here in the
Yeah.
Northeast. I think cooler temps for the week ahead, and that will enable us to remain active and do all the things we like to do. So
Right. There we go.
thanks so
Thanks,
much for
everybody.
joining us. I'm Dr. Ronald Hoffman. Questions come to questions@drhoffman.net, and this is the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I want to thank you for listening to the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app, and get new episodes automatically downloaded every weekday. And please give us a rating and review. It truly helps new people discover intelligent medicine. The Intelligent Medicine Podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have, and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Finally, please visit drhoffman.com and discover everything intelligent medicine has to offer, including frequently updated, unbiased health news and fully vetted product and supplement recommendations.
This is Leyla Muden, registered dietitian nutritionist. I maintain a private practice and see patients regularly. If you require a nutrition consult with me but live out of town, there's no need to travel to New York City. I have telephone and telehealth consultations with clients from all over the country. Please visit drhoffman.com for more information. And to set up an appointment, call 212-779-1744. That's 212-779-1744. I look forward to being a collaborator in your healthcare.